Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
Welcome back, haunters. Is it October yet? It's pretty close, isn't it? Wow, the month we've been waiting for. Well, us here at Haunt Topic Radio, Haunters Toolbox, and Scarab Badges all wish you a great season. Be safe, have fun, and keep it scary. So what do you use to manage your actors? I'm old school, so I'm used to using notebooks. We had a big magnet board at the haunt that moved people around under each room and each area. That kind of got complex and complicated. Tonight we talked to Scython at scython.io. It is a management system for your haunted attraction. You can hire, you can organize. There's even a haunt attraction design, a tool inside the platform. You can do background checks. You can send mass text messages. Just a great way to organize your actors. Makes it simple so no one's worried about where's this such and such person. They can clock in, they can clock out, you can get all their times, all that. Some of you may have used Haunt Scheduler in the past. Scython is a replacement for that. Haunt Scheduler has gone out of business now. So if you're interested in streamlining your crew, maybe you have a smaller haunt, maybe this isn't necessary, you might pick up something that you can use inside this platform. Or when you get bigger, you can go ahead and adopt this platform as your own. And also, Scython has added a Scarab Badge function. So if you go down to the Awards tab, you click on Awards, Scarab Badges is an option in there, so you can keep track of all your badges, who got what badges each year. Helps you streamline that as well. So we're really proud of what Scython has going on. Well, have a great haunt season. We'll have another podcast in October, probably toward the end of October. Go build something. Go visit a haunted attraction. Go to a fall festival. Soak up the fall. Let's roll into it. Our podcast episode with Scython.io. We had a question in the toolbox about management platform software. Your name came up several times. People are using it. So we want to get more information from you about how it works, people that are new to it, people that are doing it already, maybe want to pick up something that they didn't know about that does. If you guys, this is a free masterclass webinar through haunterstoolbox.com. We do 12 a year. We also do little get-togethers, just members and stuff. So if you want more information, sign up for free. We have a pay plan, haunterstoolbox.com over there. So Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background of you and your connection to the haunt industry, and take us into the platform.
Yeah, for sure. So to start out, thank you, Brian, for organizing this meeting, and thank you for everybody that showed up. Definitely glad to have everybody here. So I have been in the haunt industry since 2011. So I was the manager at a haunt called Fright Nights Kentucky here in Central Kentucky from 2011 up until a couple years ago, when I switched focus to primarily focus haunt season on managing and maintaining Scython. So Scython, the early days of Scython started in probably 2015, 2016, when we were looking for a web management, some sort of a digital tool to manage all of our time cards, communication, just general actor costume management. We had been using Facebook Messenger for communication. We had been using those old school punch cards where the actors would have to come and punch it in. And then our HR person at the time, at the end of every weekend, would go home and she would have to go and manually tally up everybody's hours and keep track of that, and then calculate everybody's pay at the end of the season. So when I was asked to take over that role, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not spending hours and hours doing manual, adding up hours. We just had all of these disparate tools that we were using to try to manage the haunt. So coming from a programming background, I decided to write a kind of a simple starter web app just for myself. And as the haunt grew and we grew to more locations, I started adding more and more features to it. So then in 2020, decided to turn it into a business and kind of redeveloped it from the ground up, using a lot of requests from not only the experience that we had had at our haunt, but other haunts in the area, and picked up a few early beta customers to help give really good feedback. And from there, it sort of took off. So the last probably 2.5 years has been most of our development has come from feature requests from existing customers. So we've been in a fortunate position where we've been able to grow very rapidly, especially in the last year. This year was our first year at Transworld, so we were very excited to be able to be there and had such good reception at Transworld. We had been just at a local Fear Expo in Owensboro, Kentucky up until this year. So it was definitely awesome to spread our wings and be able to get to go to a big show like that. I think you're on mute, Brian.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Transworld's always a good show. That's where we go for scare badges.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. I think that's where you and I met as well.
Yes. Yeah. You came over and said that you added some stuff for scare badges on the platform. So,
and I'll have to show you that tonight.
That's going to be great.
It's on the platform. So I guess, yeah, going for the rest of this meeting, do you want to go through just a high level overview? Do we want to open it up for Q&A? What's the sort of best format that will work for everybody here?
Best way, let's, I'm saying 8:30, 9 o'clock. So that's what my time limit is. So if you want to run over generalization of everything, and then if we have questions, we can go deeper down, but at least let everybody kind of know what it does. So we know more about it.
Perfect. And I will say for anyone on the call, I also do one-on-one demos. If you're interested, just shoot us an email at support@scython.io, or just jump on our website and there's a contact form, and I can do a full 1-hour demo customized to you or your haunt. I'm going to be very, very brief, sort of a very high-level overview just to make sure for this webinar that we have time for questions at the end.
Excellent.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges.
We always were looking for ideas to get those actors to take it to the next level. I really want to do something that they can use more than just a meal, or they can use more than just a that a boy, that a girl. They love this stuff, but it's not really promoting a haunter. And then I sit down, Scarlet Badges comes out. That's when I realized this is amazing, because not only is it giving them an attaboy, but it's also promoting them all year round. And to promote somebody, to give somebody accolades all year round and have them be able to wear it on their shoulder with pride means a lot. This right here says this is who nailed it on this day in this year for the rest of their life, for the rest of their haunting life. And that's what I really love about this product, is you're able to give haunting to somebody an attaboy 365 days a year. And that's, so hats off to you guys. I think this is a great product, and I wish you the best of luck because it's awesome.
Get your Scare Badges at scarebadges.com.
So when we jump in here, when we first log in, we're going to be taken to the dashboard. So the first thing as a new user that you'll be prompted to do is to customize your recruitment form. So we're going to start on the recruitment page. And I do see a comment about Haunt Scheduler. We've had a lot of new customers come over from Haunt Scheduler since their announcement last month. So we have had a lot of requests and tried to incorporate in our roadmap for the remainder of the year some features that Haunt Scheduler had that we may not have had in our platform. So when you get to the recruitment page, this basically lets you completely customize what your recruitment form or actor portal is going to look like. So here we can set the title, description, basic form components here, as well as which components we want to be available. So by default, we'll start with the profile. So the profile tab is going to look like this. And from here, you can decide which fields you want and whether or not you want for them to be required. So pretty self-explanatory there. For preferences, this is where you can add as many custom questions as you want. So any custom questions that you want to ask the actor as it pertains to your haunt, you can add those here. And you can add any of these types of questions. If you want to add private fields that are for manager use only, so for example, attended the safety webinar, completed background check, things like that, you can do that from what we call haunt settings. And you can add custom private staff fields that will show up on each staff or actor's profile that managers can then go in and update those fields, but they're never shown or made available to the actors themselves. So this, again, on the recruitment, this is all actor facing. So these are fields and questions and information that we're going to collect from the actors. So if we turn on the waivers and forms, this is an optional tab that you can add to your recruitment form if you want to collect things like tax forms, waivers, typically PDFs that your actors need to print out, physically sign, and bring to the haunt. And you can add any custom questions here as far as what you want for them to do with that. And then lastly, if you turn on this schedule tab, it's going to bring you, let me refresh here. It's going to bring you to this page where you can add all of your shifts for the season. And then there's a few options here for schedule options as far as making that available on the actor portal. So for example, this first checkbox, I usually make sure to point out, if you do not want your staff to initially mark their availability on the schedule when they first sign up, then you're going to want this to be turned off, or I'm sorry, you're going to want this to be turned on. So this is saying they have to be hired before they're able to schedule. So we've got some options here. So once you have your recruitment form all finished up, polished up, you can then publish it, and then you'll get a custom link that you can then share on your social media, website, etc. Once your actors or potential actors start filling that out, they're going to show up in the staff page. And by default, their initial status is going to be not reviewed. So let's say you have a handful of staff that come to a safety orientation, and at that point you decide to hire them. You can individually edit their profile, or we can check a whole bunch of people at one time and say, all right, all of these people are now hired. So now all of these people are hired that came to my orientation. One typical use case that a lot of customers will do is they will let a batch of actors sign up, and then they'll go into communication and they will send out an email to everyone whose status is not reviewed, or maybe they'll move them into another state and then send out an email or text message to let them know about orientation, auditions, etc., to move them forward in the hiring process. I'll just quickly show you what this looks like. So any other custom questions that a staff person would answer would also be available on the staff page, as well as any scheduled shifts for this person. We would be able to see that here. If you use dynamic scheduling, it will also show you the position on this page. And I want to briefly explain what that is before I go into the schedule. And I'm going to try not to go into too much detail, but just hit the highlights. But I do want to point this out. So we have two different scheduling modes. So the first one is simple scheduling mode, and that's really intended for if your actors stay in the same position for the duration of the season. So I come in, I get hired, and you put me as the Grim Reaper in scene A of Dark Forest. And that is, for every night that I'm here, that is my position. So if your haunt operates in that way and there's not a lot of moving around from night to night, then simple scheduling is going to be your best bet because there's less manager overhead. With dynamic scheduling, we can have the option to assign actors to a different position for each night or each shift. So in that case, there's a little bit more manager overhead in the sense that I do have to go in and do the schedule for each night, but it gives me the flexibility to where me as an actor, I may be the Grim Reaper on Friday night, but I may be the ticket taker on Saturday night. I might be security on Sunday night. So with dynamic scheduling, it gives you the ability to dynamically put people in different positions throughout the season. So I will show off dynamic scheduling. So if you have dynamic scheduling enabled, then you will have this positions page where you can add as many positions as you need. And each position can be tied to a costume. So for example, if you have a position, ticket taker A, I may not have an assigned costume to that, but Manic Clown might be, we'll put him in the Land of Clowns and say it's Krusty Clown. So now, if I'm assigned to Manic Clown for any given night on the schedule, I know that I'm in Land of the Clowns and my costume is Krusty Clown. And once you have, as a manager, once you've assigned me to that position, I can log into my actor portal and see on that shift what my position assignment is and what attraction that's in. You also have the ability on the positions, you'll see we have non-essential and essential. Whenever you add a new position, you can choose from one of these three classifications. And that makes it really easy when you go to schedule to know if this is a position that I absolutely need to make sure is being scheduled, or if it's a standby or non-essential position, if I don't have enough people that I really need for a full cast, there's, those are the positions that I don't necessarily have to fill. So that can help a lot when you go into the schedule page. So I'm going to skip down to the schedule page just to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click on this shift here. And in this case, we have 10 actors here. And we'll make the assumption that these 10 actors have gone into the actor portal and they have marked themselves as available for this shift. So Wednesday, September 18th. So all of these 10 people have said, yes, I'm available to work this shift. So once you have all of your actors mark their availability on the schedule, you can go in and start doing those position assignments. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can do it directly from this page. So I can edit this and say Aaliyah is going to be the doll leader and save that. But that would be a little cumbersome if I'm working with hundreds and hundreds of actors to do that. So we do have an easy drag and drop feature that's available if you're on a desktop or a laptop, and allows you just to quickly drag over drag over staff to their position. So I can click and move these over to whichever position assignment I want them on. We have an update coming out later this week that also adds filtering. So I can filter just the positions that are in a particular attraction, and it's going to hide all of the others. That way I can just focus on one at a time. And then likewise, I can filter my staff list by group. And that way I can just focus on one group at a time and one attraction at a time to make it a little more manageable if I'm using this tool to schedule hundreds of actors on a given night.
So that's only available on laptop and...
Yeah, just because of this interface requiring 2 columns, it would be very difficult to try to do on a phone. So it's not available on mobile. Just about every feature, I would say 95% of the platform features are available on mobile. The haunt that I helped out with last year, I managed entirely from my phone. I never had to jump onto a desktop or laptop while I was on site. I could fire off text messages. I could check people in, do all of that from my phone very easily. Really just this view and a feature called Attraction Studio, which I'll go into briefly in a few minutes, are the only 2 features that are not available on mobile.
Do you know what causes haunted attractions to shut down before they even get started? The top 3 roadblocks are lack of funding, lack of leadership, lack of resources. As a member of the Haunters Toolbox, you get instant access to the tools you need to start and grow your own haunted attraction business. To get started, become a member at haunterstoolbox.com.
So one nice feature that we do have here is this copy from shift. So let's say we have 300 actors and we spend, an hour getting all those position assignments done for Friday. Now it's time to do Saturday. Well, in most cases, the majority of those may just be the same, and that might be a good starting point if we can just copy Friday to Saturday. So we do have this copy from shift that lets you choose which shift you want to copy from, and it will copy all of those position assignments to another shift. On our attractions page, this is probably one of the first things that you would want to do as well when you're creating your account is set up your attractions. That way you can start assigning your costumes and your positions to your attractions. And this can be a main attraction, or you can divide this up by scene or by room. I believe Haunt Scheduler, for all of the previous Haunt Scheduler customers, had a concept where you would have an attraction, and then under that you could create a scene or a room. We've chosen not to do that just because we feel like it adds a little extra overhead. So if it makes sense from an organizational perspective for your haunt to have attractions broken down by scene, you can absolutely do that. And we have a lot of customers, or some customers, that, for example, may have Haunted Barn dash, scene A, Haunted Barn dash scene B. So that's another way you can do it if you want to be that granular. But one benefit of just using the high level, the main attraction, if your haunt has multiple attractions, is when you go to communication. Let's say I want to fire off a text message to everyone that is currently checked in that is in Land of the Clowns. I can easily just click Land of the Clowns, currently checked in, and then I can send off a text to that group pretty quickly. If you do it by scene, you can also do it. You would just need to check all of the scenes in that attraction before you would fire off that text message. I do want to briefly show off Attraction Studio. which is an attraction. So if you enable on any attraction the 3D floor plan, you check that little box that you want to turn that on, it will bring you to this view. So I'm just going to load the demo design right now. And this is a tool that we developed last year to allow for planning existing attractions as well as future attractions. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to load there. So what this allows you to do is create your floor plan. So we start out in this two-dimensional view, and we can go in and we can draw walls, we can delete walls. I'll say done. And once we have our two-dimensional floor plan laid out, then we can go over to the design view, which is the 3D layout, and I can visualize what this is going to look like in 3D. And I can start applying textures to my walls. I can start dropping in haunt-related items. We'll add a covered corpse. We'll put him out here. This is really useful for a couple of things. One, like I said, the planning, but it's also really useful for showing your actors where they are in relation to the rest of the haunt. So if I am this actor and I'm right here, then I can see in relation to the rest of the haunt, I can see where my scene is. And we have another update coming out probably in October, which is going to put a little label above this person's head to say exactly what the position name is. But you can share this out. You can get a public, save it first. You can share out this URL to your actors. So you can shoot them an email or text with this URL. That way they can see the floor plan. They're not able to edit it, but they can see it in view only mode. You can also, I know we have a couple of haunts that have a big screen TV in their actor or costume room, and they will display the attraction on this TV and show where are the exits, where are your fire extinguishers, and just give actors an idea of what the attraction looks like.
I didn't know you all had that option until they started talking about it in the Facebook group. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a relatively new feature, and it's sort of hidden away, under this little button if you turn on the 3D floor plan. But it definitely can be useful for planning purposes and for actor awareness.
Oh, we had a question on staff. You can add pictures to the staff to the whole
for the staff. Yes, so the actors can upload their own photos. Managers cannot currently change those, but on the recruitment form, if you turn on the photo under profile, so right here, if you have this turned on, it will give actors the ability to upload a photo, which will then be shown on their staff profile.
Okay. We had a question about that.
Any other questions?
Guys, leave your questions in the text and I'll in the chat box, and I'll monitor them. I'm checking Facebook and the other one too, and on Zoom. So
awesome. Appreciate it, Brian.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going a little bit fast, so if anyone does have any questions or wants me to slow down a little bit, I can certainly do that. So there are 3 ways to check in and out actors. The first way is from the time tracking page, and you can have a manager be on this page. You can start searching for somebody's name. They get here, you click check in, it checks them in with the current time. I'm on Eastern time, so I know that may not be the same time for everybody, but it's 9:03 my time. And then when I hover over each of these, I can see which manager checked in this person. So if you have multiple managers doing that job, you can see exactly who checked them in. Let's say this actor decides that they are calling in. We can mark them as a call-in, and we can give them a reason.
Had that excuse before.
Yeah, I'm sure many of us have had the same excuse as I have in the past. So you can mark them as a call-in. Say they show up later, we can just hit check-in, and it will cancel the call-in if they end up showing up. One neat feature about the time tracking page is you can set an earliest check-in time. So this is great for actors that like to show up 3 or 4 hours in advance. You can still have, if you allow them to check in and out themselves, and I'll show you that in just a second, you can set an earliest check-in time. That way, if I show up at 2:30 p.m. and I find the kiosk iPad and I go ahead and check myself in for 2:30, I'm not actually going to be able to start counting my hours as far as me getting paid until 7 o'clock. So it's not going to start tracking it until 7. We also have the default checkout, which is useful if you have everyone pretty much gets done at the same time. Everyone can have the same checkout time. Then you can set the default checkout time, and anyone that does not have a checkout time, but they are checked in, will use the checkout time. So we'll say it's 1:05 a.m. Let's say this night on September 17th, the haunt got done at 1:05. So I can set this as the default checkout time. If they do check out, it will use that time on any applicable reports. But if they don't check out, then it would use my default checkout time. If I don't set a default checkout time and they don't check out, then they would not show up on, for example, a payments report because they don't have any hours because they never checked out. So that is up to the haunt for if you want to still pay actors. If you're a paid haunt that don't check out, you can set that default checkout time. I'm going to jump over back to the dashboard to show off the staff check in and out kiosk. So I said there were 3 different ways to check out in and out actors. The first way would be from the time tracking page. If you want your actors to come to a manager, say they're here and that manager has the role of checking them in. Or what we did at the haunt that I've worked at is we had 3 or 4 iPads we would position around the costume room. We would instruct actors when you arrive, find an iPad, check in. So let's look at the kiosk mode here. So in kiosk mode, it's going to look something like this. They can start typing in their name. We'll do Leslie. And I see she's already checked out. Let me find someone that's not. So we'll do Eduardo. So Eduardo puts in his PIN number and clicks next. Well, let's say he's forgotten his PIN code and I have a line of people standing at that kiosk to get checked in. He can hit reset PIN code. It's now sent him an email. So if he has his phone on him, he can step to the side, reset his PIN code, and then come back. So let's say now I know what it is. I type it in, I hit next, I check in, and now I've been checked in at the current time, and it's going to automatically go back for the next person to be able to check in. The third way would be staff badges. So the staff badges can be used on the same page. So if you're using an iPad, we recommend just getting a Bluetooth QR code scanner. They can scan their badge and it will automatically check them in. When they scan it a second time on any given night, it will check them out. And badges can be generated from here. And I'll just give you an idea of what those look like. These do take just a second to run for it to create everyone's badges. But it's essentially just going to have a QR code. And those little lanyards that we get, like at Transworld, those sleeves that everybody's name tags are in, those are a great thing to get for those. Laminate these or put them in a sleeve. Give them to your core group of actors, and it will save them a lot of time because all they have to do is come up and scan the badge rather than finding their name and putting in their PIN code. They can just scan and it automatically gets them checked in.
That's what Lindsay said. Lindsay said our staff could barely remember their audition numbers that were attached to them. Not sure they can remember pins. So the badge is a good solution for.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like I said, if you don't have a badge for everyone, say you have, actors that you hire late after you've printed badges, they can always still use a PIN code, and they have the option to reset it directly from that kiosk page if they forget it. Managers can also see those as well. So if there's a manager around, they can reset the PIN code. Let's see where it is.
So Eli or Kramer is that asking about would be hard almost to know when an actor is actually there unless mod checks them in themselves. I'm not sure what mod.
Can you repeat that?
Kramer said would be hard almost to know when an actor is actually there unless someone checks them in themselves. So when you go to the actors, does it say who's in the house or who's? You just got to look at it, right? It says,
yeah, so that would be where you would go to the time tracking page, and this is going to show all of the people that are currently checked in. And you can click on check in, and it will sort everyone, whoever's checked in at the top. So we can say show everyone, and it's going to show my entire list of people that are checked in. And if they checked in themselves using the kiosk mode that I can see here, checked in by, it's the same name as the actor. So we know that he checked himself in via the kiosk mode rather than a manager.
Gotcha.
Any other questions about check in and out?
Can you make more than one badge for each actor if they forget their badge?
You can. All the badges are the same. So it's the same QR code on each badge.
But it's linked to their name, I guess, somehow?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Scarrett badges are one of the smartest things I've seen in the industry in a really long time. Scarrett badges are basically either pins or embroidered patches, kind of like merit badges, as they are, somewhat named after, from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies, and where after you've accomplished something, you can wear the brag tag of the embroidered patch. Some haunts put them on jackets, some put them on t-shirts, some put them on, with the pins, I've seen them put them on lanyards. But the neat thing about them is they are very specific in what they are rewarding. And they're haunt-based images that reflect what's being rewarded. it's retention, it is bringing people back, and it's actually giving your haunters, your haunt performers, the ability to share that they are haunt performers. And, oh really, you're a scare actor, where do you do that? And then they will insert the name of your haunt right there. So it's also marketing. I've always been a big fan of Scarrett badges. I think they're great. So check them out, scarrettbadges.com. No, that is not a paid advertisement. That is just my recommendation. I think it's really cool.
ScottSwinson.com.
And also on this page, let's say you have a manager of each attraction, the one checking them in, I can filter by just the people that are in my attraction. So I guess I haven't assigned people yet, but it would show everyone that are in Dark Maze. It would show them here if I'm only checking in my specific attraction. So I don't have to see everybody in the list. Was there a question that just popped up? I thought I saw a question.
Michael, if you get a chance, can you cover the costume management aspect?
Absolutely. I'll jump over there now and then we'll do communication. So costume management. So you can add as many costumes as you need or have. And this can be used not only for costumes, but also just for characters. So if you have a character that maybe is just makeup, then what I typically recommend is go in here, put the character name, and then have a picture, have an actor in that character, take a picture. That way you can describe exactly what the makeup requirements are. If there are any other costume requirements, include that in the description, and then take a really good photo. That way the makeup artist can see this is what I'm trying to do whenever I'm creating this character. And we have several different staff. Let me jump in here. Several different statuses as well. So you can track the status of each costume. So if it's out for repair, for example, we'll just say this one's out for repair. So we can track exactly which ones are actively in the haunt versus something else. Any other questions or anything specific you'd like for me to cover on costume management?
Michael, did that cover your question? James Warren, you may want to add a feature for management to add pictures to the file. We still keep a hard copy of the application. We attached headshot, body shot, notes from the staff. We set up different audition days and usually do not pick actor assignments until everyone has been seen. That is usually a 2-week or so process. It's going to have visual cue later. So I guess we're talking about actor pictures again.
Okay, yeah. So the actor pictures are available. You know, we can see our thumbnail here. If we click on a profile, we can see their photo here. They're not available for export though. So that may be what that question is asking. You can run a report for any of the fields in an actor's profile. Except for the picture. So that's current. It exports all of our report types are a CSV, which can be opened in Excel.
But the initial picture they have to upload. So you have to get everybody on board to upload their own picture.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And that's pretty easy to access for them to access all of this to upload the.
It is. Yeah. I'll show you that real quick before we move on. So this is my actor portal for my demo account. So this is what it would look like for a new actor. If I was logging in, if I was an existing actor, let me grab somebody here. We'll do Brianna. So I'll just grab this email, 2023. So I'm going to log in. So let's say I'm Brianna. I want to log in to see the schedule, or I want to update my phone number. I'll put in my email, my PIN code, and it's going to fill in all my information. Here's where I initially uploaded my picture. If I want to change that, I can do so. Preferences. This actor on my demo account has not answered these questions, so I'll go in here and answer them real quick. Next. This is what the schedule looks like initially. If you have in the schedule options on the recruitment form, if you have it turned on where actors can see their positions, then once they're assigned to a position, they would also see that. So here you can see the ones that I've checked. So she's marked as available to work on these 2 shifts. Once she is assigned to a position, she would see what her position name and attraction is underneath those. So this is what the view looks like from the actor perspective.
Very simple. That's good.
And if you have any custom fields that you just want to add for managers only, if we go into haunt settings, we can go down here to custom staff fields. And I've just added stupid stuff here, but we can add a text field or a check field. So a check field would be something like you verified their age, or you have verified their background check is completed or whatever. A text field would be something like if you want to collect their social security number, or you want to collect, you want to have information in that field, you can add that field. So favorite tree, favorite car, we'll do a check. We'll say attended safety meeting.
You do birthday, or is there an option for birthday?
Yeah, you can do birthday. So I can see the check one is just a checkbox. I can say yes or no, whereas the text ones I can actually fill in with information. So if you wanted one to be birthday, you could do that and put the birthday there. If you want the birthday field to be something that the actor fills out, then you would want to put that on the recruitment form, and then it would be available for them to enter their own birthday. Any other questions before I move into communication?
I think we're good right now.
All right. And I'll try to go a little quicker. We're almost done. I want to be cognizant of everybody's time here. So for communication, you can send out a group email or a group text message. So if I go to this group messages tab and say I want to send a new group message, we'll say text message. By default, it's going to start out saying it's going to send to everyone, and it's going to show me, here's everyone that's in my demo account. Let's say I want to filter that down and only send it to my hired people. Now I see that there's 14 hired people in my account. Maybe I only want to send it to hired actors. Now it's down to these 10. Now maybe I only want to send it to hired actors that are checked in today. So now I see that these are all of my hired actors that are checked in on this day. Maybe something happened yesterday and I want to send out an email to all of my actors from yesterday. I can change the date in here to yesterday, and I see, well, no one was checked in because I didn't have a shift yesterday. So we'll change that back to today, and I can see 8 people, type out my text message and say send, and it will immediately send that text message to those 8 people. You'll see all of your sent messages here, so you can go in here and see if it was a text message or an email and what the message was. Once you have a subscription, if you have a subscription, then you're able to have your own dedicated staff line. So in this account, this is my dedicated staff line. I would give this out to all of my actors and staff. They can save it in their phone as the name of your hot staff line. If they text it, then you will see that text within the platform. So it would look something like this. So here's a sample conversation between this actor, Lucas Mitchell, and the demo manager. So you can see, looks very much like a standard text message thread. Any manager can jump in here and respond, and you'll know which manager responded. Let's say you jump in here, you read it, and you're like, well, that's not really for me. You can mark it back as unread. That way the next manager that logs in can see there's still unread messages that need to be responded to. They can also call that number and leave a voicemail, and you can listen to that voicemail through the platform, and then you can respond back with a text.
So is this texting through the app?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the texting, and I can send an individual text to any of my actors, or I can just enter a custom number if they're not in the system yet, and I can fire off a text message that way as well.
And they have to have the app installed with notifications on, or?
No. So when we say app, it is a web application. So there's not a dedicated app in the App Store. So you would access this from your web browser on your phone, but it is completely mobile friendly. And this little indicator, this little blue indicator would notify you that there is one or more unread messages.
Do they get an email as well, or just a text message?
What do you mean by email?
Like if you send them a message through this platform, does it generate an email address or like an email? Because I know some people choose to get all their stuff through email. I use Facebook Messenger a lot because all my high schoolers were on Facebook. So it was a few of them didn't get it, but then their friends gave them the message and stuff. So, but they have to check in and read their messages, basically.
Yeah, they would have to log in to their Cython account to see the messages. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions about communication, and we'll wrap up here with these last 2, and then leave time for questions.
Nothing yet.
All right, I'm going to do awards. That way we can talk about Scarab badges for a minute. Yeah. And then we'll do reports. So with awards, this is simply a way for you to track recognition, attendance, whatever type of recognition that you want to give your actors. You can add awards here. So we can add any award name and description you want. And then we can go in here and say, this guy and this guy are great builders. So their they are recipients of the Afterlife Architect Award. Let's say you use Scarrett badges and you want to track your recipients for Scarrett badges. You could just add it this way, or we have an easier way now. You can just click Add Scarrett badges and choose which ones you want to add. So I'm going to add all of these and just say Add Badges. Now all of those are added automatically. So if I click on Actor of the Year, I can see what that Scarrett badge looks like. I can add my recipients to it. And then when I'm ready to order, I can just click the order button and it will take me directly to the Scarrett badges page for me to order those patches. And
I'm sold.
Slow.
Sign me up.
There we go. Actor of the Year.
All right. Daryl, you're missing that.
Sorry, bud.
My partner Daryl, he's not here. He was not able to make tonight. So you're missing it, Daryl.
Yeah, definitely a handy feature for everyone that uses Scarrett badges or plans on using Scarrett badges going forward. Definitely a great tool to
Thank you
use.
for that.
So last but not least, we have awards. So we can do reports. We just did awards. We can do a report type for just about anything in the platform. So let's do a staff list report. So we'll just say show all my fields. So we'll say first name, last name, status, attended safety meeting, city, state, generate report. So it's going to give me all of those fields. I can print that, or I can save it as a CSV, which would open up in something like Excel or Google Sheets. So here's all of that information. I'll show you a couple other report types real quick. The staff payments report is pretty handy for knowing what you need to pay people at the end of the season, or if you do biweekly, you can run this for any range of time. So we'll run it for the last 2 weeks, and you can set a different pay for each group. So maybe my actors make, I don't know, $9.50 an hour. My leads make $11 an hour. And maybe my support staff gets paid at a flat rate. I give them $50 on Fridays and $75 on Saturdays. So now, based on the group that each person is assigned to, will determine what their pay rate is. So then it will use their hours from the time tracking in combination with their rates to determine what each person should be paid. The rounding here is nice if you have everyone more or less check in at around the same time and check out at around the same time. And, there's a minute or two differences between actors and you want to avoid conflicts with, well, this person made $201 and this person made $202, but they've all been here at the same time. You can round up to the nearest 5, 10 hour, whatever makes sense there, just to round and make everyone's times a little more even. So we'll say 15 minutes and generate that report. So now I can see everyone's name along with this information and, most importantly, what I should write their check for. If you use some sort of payroll solution like Paychex or ADP, I don't have direct experience with those platforms, but we do have customers that use them, and they're able to export these out of Scython and then import those into those systems to do direct deposits and whatnot from there. Are there any other report types that anyone would like to see?
A lot of cool options, a lot of things I did not know about.
Or is there anything else anyone would like to see at this point? That sort of wraps up my high level overview, but I'm happy to talk about specifics on anything.
Any other question, guys? We're 8:25. We can go all the way up to 9 o'clock if Justin has time.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not, if you guys have any more questions, I really like it. Mine was old school. We had between notebooks and a big magnet board up on the haunt where people move their names around and put them in different spots. We've done that before, but I like how simple it is to use. Everything's here.
Yeah, appreciate it. I think I saw a question about editing staff schedules. In an upcoming update next month, you will be able to update from here. So currently, you would do the position assignments from the schedule page from here. You will also be able to do it on a per staff basis for the entire season once we release this next update from here. So if I go to scheduled shifts, you'll be able to add or change these from this view. Currently, this is a view only screen of this actor's schedule, but we're going to add in the ability to make changes from here as well.
The background check feature.
Background check feature, yes. So we have a partnership with Checkr, which is one of the leading background check providers. And to set that up, you can go over here and say background checks, and it will walk you through the process of doing that. Essentially, it will have you set up an account with Checkr. We do not collect any payment to run background checks. We just provide the integration to make it easy to run those checks. But you would set up the account through Checkr. Once your account is verified by them, then it opens up the background check ability within Cython. And we just have a clean user interface. I don't have it available right now on this demo account, but essentially it just lets you choose which type of background check you want and then select all or whichever selected actors or staff you want to run a check for. And then you just click submit, and it will automatically generate an email to all of those actors. And that comes from Checkr, which allows them to sign off that they agree to have a background check run on them, as well as fill in any additional information that Cython doesn't collect. So for example, social security number is not a default field that Cython collects. That is a requirement for running background checks. So in the email, it would direct them to fill out a secure form with their social security number. And then once that's submitted back to Checkr, I think it takes 2 to 3 business days. And then that report is available back within Cython. So you don't have to jump between Checkr and Cython. You can stay in Cython. Everything gets reported back to Cython. And then you can also set up workflows. So I can say, whenever an actor's background check comes back, if it comes back as clear, go ahead and set their status to hired. Or if it comes back as there may be an issue, set it to conditional. So you can set up these automated workflows that will automatically set those staff statuses based on the result of a background check.
Oh, Kramer was asking, it can be utilized for other businesses. Can this platform be, or is there too much haunt lingo in there? I was thinking there's too much.
There is a lot of haunt lingo. It is obviously very focused in the haunt industry. I want to say we have a couple customers that are not really haunts. I think we have a customer that does something with costumes or something. It's still kind of in the haunt industry. I think we've had a couple of like fairground organizers use Cython because they're hiring temporary employees. So a lot of the same workflows exist for them as it does for seasonal haunts. But it is very much haunt focused and intended for haunts. But I imagine it could be used for especially for businesses that hire temporary employees and have scheduling and things like that. And just want an easy way to communicate with staff, an easy way to be able to send out a text or an email just quickly using our filtered communication.
So how do we get started with it? What do we do?
That's a great question. So on our homepage, there is a get started page, or a get started button rather. So if I log out here, you can click get started and it will just ask you to fill out your information about your haunts and just walk through these steps, and you will have a free 30-day trial. It's never going to ask you for a credit card. So you can sign up, play around with it. All of the features are available to you except for the dedicated phone line. So like the two-way texting is not available until you have a subscription, just because of the cost that we incur for registering a phone line on your behalf. So if you're on the trial until you subscribe, you're just using our shared phone number. So any mass text that you sent out from the platform would come from that shared line, and actors couldn't respond back to it. But once you have a subscription, you can provision your own number and get your own dedicated phone number. Any other questions or things that I can dive into deeper?
James Warren said any reference on current users. So I'm guessing he's trying to get can you release any of your customers' names and who you work with?
On our homepage, I'll just go over here. At the bottom of our homepage, we do have several haunts that we feature. These are haunts that I've asked permission to showcase. You can find a lot of our customers just by going on their Facebook pages or websites and seeing that their employee, their sign up or actors wanted links go to a Cython form, but we don't disclose our customers unless they've given us permission first. So beyond the ones that we show here on the Haunt Showcase. And if you are a customer and you would like to be included on the Haunt Showcase, reach out to us and we'll get your logo added here. Just send us a high-res version of your logo, and we will add you to the haunt showcase.
Some nice haunts in there.
Yeah, we definitely have some big haunts and some excellent haunts. A lot of these I really want to go to. I have a to-do list of all the haunts that I want to visit.
I couldn't manage one of those haunts out of a notebook. I think I'd have to have something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Michael said I'm sold. You'll be hearing from us. I think Michael's
Awesome.
up there in Terror in the Corn, Colorado. Sold you out. Sorry. Now I think that's it for questions, guys. We're going to wrap it up. If you have any more questions, let us know real quick, and yes, it does make things a little organized.
That's definitely the goal. The goal is really to put all of the tools needed to run a haunt, specifically your actors and staff, all into one tool. So you're not having to go from all of these different apps and tools to just one unified interface.
Dan had a question. How do you keep someone that applied from appearing on the available schedule before they are actually hired?
So that's a great question. So I'll mention a couple of things. So the first is on the schedule tab. If we check this box, then they're not able to see the schedule tab. They're not going to see the schedule tab on their form unless their status is hired, if you have this checked. If you do have staff that you want to make inactive for whatever reason, we do have different statuses on here. So you can mark if they're rejected or terminated. But inevitably, we all have actors that don't come back some years and then they may return later. So we can put them as a status of inactive, and then we can choose. So it's letting me know that this person is scheduled to work 2 upcoming shifts, and I'm about to mark them as inactive. So it's asking if I want to remove her from those shifts. So I'll say yes. But I can go into my settings and I can just say hide all my inactive people. So if I go down here and I say show inactive staff, it's going to show inactive staff on the staff page. If I uncheck that, then they're not going to be there. So if I say view inactive, I can see these are all of my inactive staff. So we can sort of hide those away. And then if they come back at a later date, I can go back and change them and say, okay, you came back, now you're hired again. And now you show back up on the main page.
Just diving into those settings, getting familiar with everything.
Yeah, we've tried to build the platform to be as customizable as possible, because every haunt has different processes around hiring employees and just how they operate their haunt in general. So we've tried to add as many settings as we can to allow haunts to customize the platform as it works best for them, rather than having to adapt their processes to how the software operates.
Back to Dan again. He said when they fill out the application in the schedule, they automatically show up as available.
Correct.
I understand we can mark them that way, but they show up automatically. So how do you correct that?
So if you're using dynamic scheduling, then essentially when they mark themselves as available, then it will add them to the scheduled list here, but their position will be unassigned. So the recommendation for, if you don't always assign everyone that marks themselves as available to a position for every night. So let's say I need 100 people to work tonight, and 150 people say mark themselves as available on that night. So 50 people are going to be left unassigned. Typically, the best way to do that is to communicate with your actors, log into the staff portal. Schedules will be available this many days out from the night. And if you are not marked if you don't have a position assignment, then you're not scheduled for that night. Even though you've marked yourself as available, if you don't see yourself with a position, then you don't need to come in that night. Some haunts will add a position called not scheduled, and then they'll just group all of their people that they're not going to put into a position, and they'll assign them to the not scheduled position. That way the actors can actually see not scheduled on the actor portal for that night. So that's another way to go about that.
So when you have them fill out the application, you don't need to include the dynamic scheduling. So if they don't have any schedule, then you can plan it later. Would that have them show up in a different subject or whatever, different tag, I guess? I don't know.
Can you repeat that?
So like when they fill out the application, there's a schedule attached to the application, right?
Correct.
Do you need that schedule? Can they not fill out the schedule? Let's say they just want a general application, sign it out, they fill it out. And then once they get into the haunt, then you can create a schedule with everybody in there.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, so if you want scheduling turned on, but you don't want the actors to fill it out, then I pointed out this option where they're not going to even see the schedule until they are hired. If you don't want actors to see it for a period of time, you can turn off the schedule completely from the actor portal until you're ready. So you can still go in and make the schedule, and you can add actors and staff to the schedule manually from the schedule page and not even show the actors the schedule at all. So you can choose if you want them to see it and when you want them to see it. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Dan, does that answer your question? He said that he thinks he could use some improvement, just saying since we used Python last year and this season. So I guess they're still trying to figure it out. Maybe you guys could link up together, give Justin a call. Maybe he can walk you through it.
Yeah, Dan, if you want to shoot me an email and we can schedule a time for a quick meeting, I would say 95% of the features that we've added in the last 2 years have all been from customer feedback. So any feedback that we can get typically is beneficial not only to the person who suggests it, but also other haunts as well. So we definitely appreciate any and all feedback and are always working to try to improve all of the features within the platform.
Yeah, you guys get together and we'll get that worked out. So
absolutely. Yeah, we have a few big updates coming in the next month. So there will be some new features added. We want to get scheduling notifications going within the next year. We have a lot of big updates coming to Attraction Studio. So we have a lot of cool stuff on the 6-month roadmap before Transworld 2025.
And this would be a great time to plug the Facebook group, Justin.
Absolutely. Appreciate you setting all that up as well.
Yep. We have a lot of questions that we get them answered on the users group, then you'll be less bothered on some of the simple stuff, and we can help each other a lot of ways. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brett helped us set up a Scython user forum is the name of the group on Facebook. So if you want to join that, we'll accept your request to join if you're a Haunt or a Scython user. But it's just a forum for Scython users to ask questions. I'm active in there. So if you ask a question, I'll answer it, or if someone else gets to it first. So it's really just a community for everyone to share ideas, suggestions, and ask questions. And myself, as well as a couple of members of my team, are in there and actively monitoring for questions.
One more from Kramer. So people who don't come back or get terminated, their names will stay on there for future actor meets, so you have prior knowledge of them previously working for you, or will it clear out? I think you can change that.
No, it will stay on the staff view if you have them marked as terminated. So if you want them to not show up on the staff view, mark them as inactive. And my suggestion would be put a note here in the manager internal notes to say that they were terminated with the reason. That way, if you in the future, if they requested to or reapplied, you would know the reason that you terminated them if you wanted to consider hiring them back, I guess.
And how do they change what attraction they are assigned to? Or how do you change that? Once again, I think we went
Yeah, that's a good question. That depends on which scheduling mode you use. If you do not use scheduling at all, or you use simple scheduling, then you can assign staff or actors directly to an attraction. So in that case, like I said, we make the assumption that if you're not using dynamic scheduling, you're going to be in the same role for the duration of the season. So I can assign you directly to an attraction and a costume, and that's your role until I say otherwise. Whereas dynamic scheduling, you may be in different attractions and positions depending on the night. So if I go to Haunt settings, and I'll just turn off scheduling altogether, but this would apply for simple scheduling as well, then I have the ability to assign my actors directly to attractions and costumes. So I can see here now, here's all the attractions that these people are assigned to. And if I go to costumes, I can see these are the assigned actors for these costumes. So the platform changes a little bit, and there are options available for some scheduling modes that are not available in others. So depending on which scheduling mode you see will depend on how where certain things are available.
Okay.
For the stack. I think dynamic scheduling is what most haunts typically use.
Well, once again, give us the contact information for people to contact you so they can.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can email me directly at justin@scython.io. If you don't write that down or can't remember that, you can just get on our website and there's a contact us link. Click on that. shoot us a message that way. It will also come directly to my email, and always happy to set up one-on-one demos to go through a demo or just ask any specific questions, or I'm happy to jump into your Haunt account and help set up, customize your account based on your Haunt needs. So however you want to use that time, if you're interested, definitely take advantage of that.
So when's your busy time of year? About right now, or like mid-October, when everybody's like, man, I can't manage my actors, so I need something to...
110% September. August and September, not at all in October, because typically when we get to October, all of the new managers have had time to learn the platform and they've gotten all their questions answered. So it's usually smooth sailing once we get to October. But August and September are usually busy times just because we have new management, still getting familiar with the platform, new questions. And then in the case of this year, we've had a lot of new customers who were previously using Haunt Scheduler come over sort of at the last minute and trying to get up to speed before their season starts.
You probably want to get a good head start. Like if you're going to start actors and training, some people starting in June, July.
Yeah. I mean, I know that we have several customers who start their recruitment in March.
Yeah.
We typically did it in July just because for our particular area, we learned if we did it too early, by the time haunt season came around, they forgot they'd even signed up. Oh, I signed up to work at a haunted house back in February. Oh, I forgot about that. I'm working somewhere else. So we tried to get a little closer to the haunt season, but for other haunts, they're able to recruit much further out.
Yeah, you got to keep that motivation going.
For sure.
All right, Justin, appreciate your time. I think that's all the questions. Yeah, Josh, you are late. That's all right. You can watch the replay, Josh. Go back and watch it.
There we go. And if any of you all are at Transworld this year, and I believe it's the end of February, definitely stop by. I'm not sure what booth we will be at yet. I don't think the booth assignments have been made yet, but we will post on our Scython Facebook group as soon as we know what booth number we're at. So definitely stop by and see us.
Yeah, I'm doing it again too. So we'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. Thank you for your help with the Scarab Badges. That's a great option. So guys, go ahead and get this platform, manage your actors, make it easy. There it is. I'm gonna send you all of them.
There we go. Yeah, I just picked out a few, but yeah, we can definitely add more to the list.
Yeah, because we're gonna be creating more. So hope you're ready.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Okay. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thanks for showing up.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarab Badges. Get your Scarab Badges at scarebadges.com. Also sponsored by Haunters Toolbox. Take your haunt to the next level at haunterstoolbox.com. Thank you for listening to Haunt Topic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.